I hope everyone's doing well. Spring is here, so I'm in a much better spirits. I'm finally able to get outside. And I wanted to go over quite a few different things. Something came to my attention that was in the sky that I had no idea about before. Actually, two things. And one was the black hole, the location of the black hole, and also the Bennu asteroid. And I tracked it all on Saturn Jupiter conjunctions. And it's really bizarre because it ends up always being in the same place. And of course, it's moving all the time, but it's just bizarre that it seems to be tying into Virgo a lot. And I also wanted to go into the Odell rune that was used at Trump's speech. The stage was set in that symbol. And somebody brought that to my attention and reminded me that I needed to go over that. So, and that actually ties into the sky as well. So I have a lot to go through. So stay with me. I'm so happy that I did this Kepler trigon work. I did it about a year ago. I did it in one video, but it's really important because these Saturn-Jupiter conjunctions seem to be so significant in history. And it's really the kind of the good, and the good coming from Jupiter, meaning that it brings good luck, and then Saturn is like the cold father that teaches you your life lesson, right? So it's kind of, you could say, good and evil in a way, but it's all an illusion. But anyhow, the energies are very significant when they conjunct. So you can see here, I went back to 244 BC. The first one was on 9/11, and it has to do with Uranus being close to the Pleiades. Okay, it's always about the Pleiades and where Uranus is, and this is what is happening this year. It's very close to Aries. Well, it's in Aries, but it's moving, towards the Pleiades. The thing that's interesting here is that if you notice, these fiery trigons were always in water fire signs. Okay, so it was going on like this for like what, almost I don't know, 2,000 years, and then they shifted into earth signs, and it was in Virgo. And the actual Saturn Jupiter conjunction was in 1921. It was on the Zavi Java Ascension Star on 9/11. So this is part of the reason why they chose 9/11, I'm assuming. And now that is ruled by Mercury, right? Mercury is on the middle ladder with Venus and Saturn on the Freemason pillar system. So now, I wanted to go and see where this Bennu asteroid is. The Bennu is really the keystone. It's the cap on the pyramid. It's the phoenix. Okay, so I'm tracking that, and I'm going to track it to these conjunctions, and so we can see that there's a repetitive pattern happening. Now, after that Zavi Java Ascension Star Saturn Jupiter conjunction in 1921, the next ones was in Aries, and then Sagittarius, and Virgo. Then we got back to Virgo. Now we're in Virgo, Taurus. So 1981 was Virgo, 2000 was Taurus, and the 2020, on the winter solstice last year, was in Capricorn. What's interesting about these, again, it's Mercury rules Virgo, Venus rules Taurus, and Saturn rules Capricorn. So we have the three symbols, the three alchemic signs to align with this Freemason ladder. Okay, and this is why it's so significant, the time period we are in, and also that they're all earth signs. And Saturn is the key. And if you notice in the left hand of the green woman with the key, she's holding a fish hook. Okay, so this is all significant. It's the hook. Okay, so anyhow, this is why these three conjunctions, 1981, 2000, and 2020, are very, very important. They're leading up to the alchemy of Venus and Mercury transmuting your heart to your mind, your third eye, with the Saturn key, and that's how you open the door. Okay, so they have to align it to the sky And this is, it's divine that this is happening like this. But once you understand how the sky is the script, you start to see there's repetitive patterns. And so this is what I want to go over. And the beauty of the hermaphrodite is Hermes is Mercury, Aphrodite is Venus. You have to transmute these two and flip them and become the hermaphrodite, which is attaining alchemy. So here they're describing the pyramid like top, and it's called the Ben, but the Bennu bird, which is really the phoenix, used to sit on top of this pyramid cap. And they're describing here that eventually got turned into an obelisk. So this whole symbolism of the phoenix, the pyramid cap, it all ties into the obelisk, which is the Washington Monument, right? So it's very significant, and we know that the Spica star is the obelisk, the Washington Monument. So it's all tying into Virgo, and I want to get into Virgo a little bit more because there's things I found out about her that I didn't know before, and I want to share them with you. They also mention Weben, which would be Ben. It's referring to it as the sun on the rising of the sun. So I wanted to do the etymology of Weben, and it came out to be a Hungarian word that is meaning on the web, which I find that just bizarre because it's like, World Wide Web. So is that the spider web is really referencing the sun? So this is interesting. It's just something to think about. The spider and the web is in symbolism everywhere. And it's, if that's the case, and this all ties into the obelisk, it means like the tree of life, is the spider web. You can get caught in it, right? And it's almost like World War I, World War II, and World War III is WWW. It's World Wide Web. Like Prince said, the war is in your mind and the prize is the soul. So I think we're in World War III, and it's the internet mind war. So this is like no coincidence, right? 1921, Saturn Jupiter conjunction on Zavi Java at 9/11. Now you can see here where the Bennu is. It's very, at the end of Virgo's skirt, which is where the Shambhala star is. And this is really significant. And I found out the meaning of that star. And Mercury is there close to Parima. She's not showing up, but that, the star is there. The word's not showing up, but that is really significant. It's the hero star. It's on her arm, just below the Saturn-Jupiter conjunction. And Osiris was in the Golden Gate, and Isis was in Sagittarius, which is Jupiter, right? Ruled by Jupiter. Now, the whole reason I found this Bennu asteroid was because I was trying to find the orbit of Osiris asteroid and Isis asteroid to see, why they seem to be always kind of close to each other, almost like Venus and Mercury. They kind of move with each other in the sky. So they're not very far apart from each other often, but sometimes they're in conjunction. But the fact is that NASA's named this Osiris Rex. So Osiris Rex, it's the king, right? Rex is the king. It's Alchemy. It's the Regulus star in Leo, the main star of Leo, the fixed star. They're doing an expedition on the Bennu asteroid. They're taking stuff from it. I'll go into those dates of when they arrived there and when they took a sample because I wanted to see where, the Bennu was. But I'll go into that later in the video because I don't want to get off track here. Then, of course, it's 80 years exactly from 1921, 9/11, Saturn-Jupiter conjunction on the Zavi Java star to 9/11, 2001, right? And so the days are 29,220, which if you break these down, you get, 29 is 11, and 22 you can split in half and get 11/11. So you get 3 11/11/11s, which, you could say 6 11s, you get your 666, but interesting enough, you also get 960 months which is the moon again, right? 9 and 6 is the alchemic symbol for Cancer, which rules the moon, which is ruled by the moon, sorry. So this is 9/11/2001. On looking south in the sky with the land there, you can look up and we have the Twin Towers, Gemini, right at the top of that dome. And Sirius is right below, right? So this is really important. And then, of course, the moon is on the hammer of Orion. And Saturn is in Isis's gate. Venus was between the two pillars, the sun and the moon constellations. Leo is the only constellation ruled by the sun. Cancer is the only constellation ruled by the moon, and love is in the center. And the sun is like, you know, at the May star at the last leg of Leo. Mercury, again, down by Parima again. So this is all very interesting, that how these patterns are starting to emerge. So then the other thing is I wanted to show you where Enki was. Yes, and Enki was in Gemini as well. You know, and he's the Anunnaki that wants humanity to be freed. And it's like they took this kind of good energy of where everything was and then turned it bad, right? So that's very significant. Mnemosyne was also right beside Leo. And Osiris was in conjunction with the war planet Mars, and Isis is right there too. They were both in the Golden Gate. And this is all the exact time that the planes went into the buildings. This triangle is the Washington Triangle, right? Regulus Rex is the Capitol building, Arcturus is the White House, and the Spica Star, which I have the circle around, is the Washington Monument. Now, this is 9/11, and the Bennu is right there at the bottom, which is where the Shambhala star is. Okay, so now these little red dots that I have is these little clusters where the M87 black hole is. So when they launched this OSIRIS-REx probe, it was on September 8th, 2016. So close to 9/11 time period. So the sun's in the same location, but the Bennu is in the Lion's Gate, between the sun and the moon again, between the two pillars again. That's really interesting. In 2020, on October 20th, they actually got a sample. And then the Bennu is back on the Shambhala star. So they're doing a ritual with this Bennu being on the Shambhala star. And this all ties into the Odal Rune symbol. And what else is funny is it's October 20th, right? That's the day I said the Ascension Day will happen, right? It's exactly a year previous, 2020, October 20th, which all ties into Osiris's festival. So, is that a ritual, like, you know, in prerequisite of what's happening this year? Who knows? I guess we'll find out. So this is why, you know, I think it's so important, this star. And I wish I could pull them up at the same time, but I'm just doing screenshots. We're showing Bennu and the Shambhala star. It's in the same location, you know, and they actually, when they went to get the sample, it was a little bit lower in Libra. But this is all important because this whole area of the sky is the Azure Dragon, okay? And this ties into the Bible. So this is why they're so fixated with this part of the sky. Shambhala is also known as the crooked claw, most probably the same device which we call the swastika. Okay, so this swastika is the heaven star. Shambhala is the inner earth. So I think we've been like psyop, like in the earth is the other realm of heaven, and up in the sky is the ship that harvests you. So they've taken heaven and hell and flipped them. And yeah, this is the swastika. We know the swastika was you know, used for thousands of years as a good symbol. And then, you know, of course they had to terrorize the symbol, because it means heaven. So the Odell symbol, the rune, it means nobility, also lineage, race, descent, kind, nobleman, prince, inherence. Also father, or baby talk for father. So they go opal or opa, right? So that's where that is all coming from. So when you're saying opa, you're talking about this Odell's ruin symbol. Also, it can be a word for child or offspring in Old Norse. The tradition Udal law, found in Shetland and Orkney in Scotland, and the Manx law of Isle of Man, which we talked about before, is all tying into this symbol as well. Now, what's also interesting, opal is Greek for omega. So it's the omega. And this is what's really like freaked me out. It's it ties into the your ruin. The urine, the your ruin. It's also tying into that, the you are. Okay, so yeah, it's the tree of life, it's heaven, it's the tree of life. It depends on which part of the tree you go on, right? So it's all so fascinating. Urine is where phosphorus comes from. It activates DNA. So the nectar of the gods is phosphorus that's going to transform DNA. Therefore, you become the immortal souls that can jump timelines. You become the Tuatha De Dan. Okay, and then you go into the inner earth of Shambhala. This is it. I'm pretty sure this is it. And what's amazing about this symbol, it represents wings or feet. So it's either you're flying up in the sky or you're grounded, right? So, and then, it all ties into the swastika. This symbol is the swastika in like a different format. It's also was used in the Christchurch mass shooter, had it. The black sun is also part of it. The tar rune, the Celtic cross. This is all this symbol. Okay, so the fact that it's wings and feet just boggles my mind. Now, there's also another symbol that matches this one. That's a Welsh symbol. So this is the symbol that they use for the white eagle on the Wales flag. Now, it looks just like the Odell ruin symbol, but we also know that Wales uses the dragon, right? So this is all the same part of the sky, because Scorpio, even though it's a scorpion, in Chinese mythology, that's part of the dragon, the Azure Dragon, and in other mythology, it's the eagle. So then we have it all, but it's all to do with the Shambhala star tying into this whole thing with Virgo, and I'm going to show you where the dragon goes and all the pieces of the dragon and the names of the parts of the dragon, and how this is all relevant, ties into the Bible a little bit as well. So, it's just mind-boggling. And thank you, whoever you are. I don't know your name, but you brought this to my attention. I didn't even notice it until I happened to get an image of the stage. I was looking at the CPAC symbol. I was like, I don't see the Odal Rune anywhere. But then, oh my God, it's the whole stage. This is where Trump did his CPAC speech recently. So, it's really fascinating, because somebody can look at this and go, oh my God, he's part of the Nazi, party. But you have to understand what this symbol means. This symbol is part of the tree of life. It's the feet or the wings. That's Trump. He's Osiris. It's all to do with the tree of life. So this your rune, which also ties to the Odell rune, has to do with water. Bull worship, which is Taurus, Isis's gate, where the Pleiades are. And this is all tying into the elk, the horse, the lake. Now, I've done work on this with the lake and Lincoln, being in Welsh language, which is the original language that can decode the Egyptian cuneiforms. This is all tying. Lynn is the pond, it's the lake, and this is the urine. It's all water, right? It's all tying into this whole thing. So you won't believe it. I've mapped this out over Washington, D.C., and it's mine. I can't even, my mind can't even get around it all. But anyhow, I'm going to show you guys what I've mapped out. It's just mind-boggling how they put this all together, and it's all there for you to see if you're the seeker. If you choose not to look, you don't see it any of it. Now, this Odell Rune ties in Anglo-Saxon ruins, preserve the full set of the 24 elder Futhark ruins. The 24 elders is in the book of Revelations. Now, it's also tying into Frisian, the yew stick, which is the yew tree, is also tying to the tree of life. That's in the Celtic wheel of the trees. And Romulus and Remus, the she-wolf, nourished them. There's the twins again. So there's also poems. An estate is very dear to every man, if he can enjoy there in his house, whatever his right and proper in constant prosperity. So this is all tying into this inherited estate. So you inherit the estate to be able to go into Shambhala, right? This is what this is all tying to. But it's just fascinating that it's with the Shambhala star. Now, the last Saturn-Jupiter conjunction in 2020, which was in Taurus by the Pleiades, very important location, to 9/11 in 2001, was exactly 66 weeks and 6 days. So we get the 666, and then we also get 1 year, 3 months, and 11 days, which we get the 33 or the 13. Okay, so that's why it was all done on that day. I'm sure it's all relating to Saturn and Jupiter, which is why it's so important this time period that we're in right now, because we just had this Saturn-Jupiter conjunction on a winter solstice. It's like that's the most important time that every single old ancient site is aligned to, winter solstice. It's Capricorn. It's Saturn in an earth sign, not Aquarius Saturn, which is air. It's Saturn Earth, and Saturn Earth is on the cardinal cross opposing Cancer, the moon. That's why Capricorn and the moon is so important. It's on the feminine axis of the cardinal cross. Okay, another important Saturn-Jupiter conjunction was in 1940, and the Bennu was on the Spica star, which is the Washington Monument. And Saturn-Jupiter was in Aries. And Aries is the crown chakra when you run the constellations the alchemic way, and that's ruled by Mars, and Mars is war, and that's when the war was, right? 1940 to 1945. Ruled by fire, so no doubt it was a fiery time. So now 1981, for Rima, there was a Saturn-Jupiter conjunction right there, and that's the hero, and it was on January 1st, so 1/1, ruled by Mercury, Virgo, and an earth sign. And bizarre, Bennu is back on Shambhala again. It's just fascinating, because this doesn't stay there all the time. The next one was in 2000, like I said before, January 6th, in Taurus, right beside the Pleiades. Sun and Venus in conjunction in Isis's gate, which is really symbolic. And then the moon is there as well. So that's a very important one, and that's, I guess, why they chose that one to be the 66 weeks and 6 days to 9/11. It also happened to be the year of the dragon. And it says here Gemini is the zodiac sign of the person born on this day, which that's in tropical, but it's it's still relevant because it relates to the pearl and the moonstone, and it being the dragon year. They have this weird word here. They're saying it's called the Hectape Pentatrigon day. So interesting, because the trigon is the Saturn Jupiter conjunction, right? So it all ties into January 1st, 1970, the UNEX epoch. So something to do at midnight. So this is a very, very important Saturn-Jupiter conjunction on June 1st, 2000. June 1st holidays are all correlating to feast days. Even these, all these saints, that was all to do with feast days, except something that's really stuck out at me because it's a holiday in Canada. It's called Fifi Day in Vancouver, BC. And it actually all ties into this Chinese comedian, and they created this day after her death. So I wanted to go into that because it's tied to the moon. So Fei or Fifi means faith or fairy. So the word fairy means faith. So this all ties into the Tuatha De Danann, right? So because they're like the fairy people. So they took this comedian, Lydia Shum Dinha. She actually is the sister of Alfred Sung. And this is what caught my eye. So they're saying here that the proclaimed Memorial Day in Vancouver was on 28th of February 2008, a week after Shum's death. So they proclaimed this holiday because they said June 1st, 2008 was her lunar calendar birthday. I don't know if you guys know about this, but you can go just Google lunar calendar birthday, and you can figure out your lunar phase tied to your birth. But you have to have the time of your birth and everything. So yeah, so they've decided that, like, I don't know, maybe the moon on June 1st, 2008 was the same moon as her lunar birthday. So I just was like, why did they put the February 28th, that they announced it on that day? So I go and check it out. Guess where the moon is? In Scorpio, the heart of the dragon, the Azure Dragon, right there in conjunction with Entrees. And right there above it, Dea Shaba is the, Tree of Life star in Scorpio. So that's where the moon was when they announced the Memorial Day, which is the Memorial Day was June 1st, 2008. Venus-Sun conjunction, exactly the same as the 2020 Saturn-Jupiter conjunction in Isis, Silver Gate. And then the moon is in Aries, and it's a black moon in Aries, the crown chakra. So yeah, it's the Fifi Day. It's the Fate and Fairy Day. So this is all very important. And of course, she's the sister of Alfred Sung. Of course, there's going to be some esoteric meaning to this Memorial Day. So here are the 30 phases of the moon that they take the lunar birthday moon from. The 15th one is the full moon at the top. And here's the meanings of them all. You can go through them all, but the one that I found really fascinating was the 15th one, because it's the dragon. So the full moon ties to the dragon, and we talked about this for October 17th being Osiris's festival, and we have a full moon. I did that in my last video. So this is why, obviously it's so important. The full moon is the dragon. It's the dragon moon. Now, the 16th cycle is the butterfly, Psyche, which all ties into Adonis and the wings. And then the 17th, which is an important number, is the bell, is the cluster of grapes. So it's like, for whom the bell tolls, you get squeezed to get the grape juice out of you, basically. Or maybe you drink the grape juice, the nectar of the gods. Other ones that stand out here is the 20th one, which is the eagle, crocodile tail. Oh, it's Scorpio and Sagittarius. Yeah, I told you the eagle was Scorpio. And the tail is Sagittarius. Yep, it all ties into the Azure Dragon. I'll get to that. And then the 22nd lunar day is the elephant, the scroll, the book, the golden key, which is the 22 in the tarot deck. Right at the bottom is the golden swan for the 30th day, which is a black moon. And then above that, the 29th, is obsidian. it makes sense. Black moon. I just like that the last phase, like the black moon or the new moon, or is, which would be the feminine, the divine feminine, which is the womb, the dark womb, is the swans, right? So we did all that in the last video, talked about the swans and how that represents rebirth. So this Saturn-Jupiter conjunction on June 1st, 2000, exactly 10 days later, I talked about the Assad and how that's all goes from, the Leo and it goes into Gemini, and this all ties into 9/11 as well. When the moon is later in the evening, it's at the claw of the lion. But he died, and he was 69, which is the alchemic symbol for the moon again. And this family changed their name to Assad. It was not originally Assad. And he happened to die of a heart attack just after that Saturn-Jupiter conjunction. I just thought that was interesting. I was trying to see if there was something that happened around that conjunction. And Osiris was in Leo. Mercury was, at the claw of Gemini. So, was that a ritual that they did to him? Who the heck knows at this point? But it's significant that Osiris happens to be in Leo. The Assad lion, the Arabic lion, was all part of that sky. And that's why they changed their name to Assad. And like I said, Isis and Osiris are always close by, and she's almost on Regulus. The moon is on the Porrima star next to Spica, like in between the two again, so harvesting. He's the hero getting harvested. And the Bennu was on the crater, which is like the grail, So, yeah, it's significant. And we know about Osiris being on the Spica star, the Washington Monument, on the founding of the United States. This is why this part of the sky is so significant. And the sun travels through this part of the sky from like mid-September all through Virgo into October, right down to going into Libra on Halloween. So it's the All Saints Day. This is all part of that Halloween, Day of the Dead, all that part of the year. And the Bennu bird was on the hammer of God. So it's like Thor's hammer of Orion. This was, Mars was where Trump was born, on the Crab Nebula, Crab moon. So this was all the founding of the United States. But there's the Bennu bird. We found the Bennu bird on the founding. Now, I think everybody got this woman and the dragon, because that's where the dragon is, that part of the sky, correct in Virgo when Jupiter was there in September 23rd in 2017. I do believe the great sign appeared in heaven, the woman clothed with the sun, the moon under her feet, and the crown of the 12 stars on her head. That was the event in September 23rd, okay? 2017. So now, this part of this passage, the tail swept a third of the sky, the stars out of the sky, and flung them to earth. The dragon stood in front of the woman who was about to give birth, and it might devour the child the moment he was born. This part of the sky is, I do believe, Scorpio. And this all ties into the dragon and the fact that Venus is the woman, right? In constellations, it's Virgo. She's Isis. She's the Virgin Mary. In planets, she is Venus. And this is all tying into October 17th this year, which would be Venus beside the heart of the dragon, which is Entrees. Or you could say, the Phoenix as well is part of this, but I'll get into that. But the point is, this is all tying into this biblical passage with the woman being with the dragon. And this all ties into the Metropolis movie from 1927 with Venus, riding the dragon. And this all ties to Melania Trump's Affleck commercial, right, where she was transformed. So I think, and then the dragon is there, eating the people. It's the, AI dragon consuming everyone. Now, the Azure Dragon is the East Dragon. It's just interesting that there's a picture of this dragon and they have the pentagram Venus-Earth conjunction star. This is the Venus star on the dragon. And you see lots of pictures with a dragon and a woman. We saw this in the Game of Thrones, right? The woman, she's good and evil, and she rides the dragon. Good and evil, you're either the top of the tree, you know, and this is where you get harvested, so it's bad, and then the roots is where you get grounded, and you connect with Mother Earth, and this is the good. So it's really how you know, where your soul wants to end up. So this is the dragon, right? The Azure Dragon. It starts off in Spica, which is the Washington Monument, where she holds the piece of wheat in Virgo. That's the horn. Then K-Virg is the neck, and that's, you know, part of speaking your truth. Then it goes into Libra, which is the root of the, it's called the root part of the dragon. Then the Rune in Scorpio. Entrees is the heart of the dragon. Then it goes into Scorpio's tail, which is called the tail. And then it's called the winnowing basket. This is in Sagittarius, which would be like the point of the arrow in Sag, which is at the Golden Gate. Okay, so this dragon, you know, we have this big lion in Arabic that's running from Virgo towards Gemini. And then we have the dragon in Chinese mythology going from Virgo all the way through to the Golden Gate. So Shambhala would be the neck. So here they all are. They go from Virgo all the way through to the Golden Gate. That's the Azure Dragon. So here are the 4 symbols in Chinese. You've got the dragon and then the tiger cross. This is the phoenix, or you could say an eagle at the bottom. And then it's like this turtle that has a serpent on it. Now, I think, you know, the Scorpio can also be the eagle, right? So it can also be the bird. So it's either the dragon that puts you in the basket, or you know, you slay the dragon and you become the bird, and you become the phoenix and you fly out of the fixed cross. So this is, I think, really what the symbolism is. The Republic of China has this 12 symbols of the national emblem, and it has the phoenix and the dragon on the top. Here's the visual of the 12 symbols. This big round circle at the top. You got the dragon and the phoenix there. But there's that little mouse again. I mean, sorry, the rabbit again on the moon with the elixir of life. You know, it's like you can't get away from that thing. It's everywhere. So yeah, that's the visuals of the symbols. And here I'm going to explain what they all mean. So here they're going through them all. The moon with the moon rabbit, elixir of life. The 3 stars, which is kind of like, you know, the vortex math, again, the 3, 6, 9. It's called the Fu Lu Shu stars, which is like really, it's the Father, Son, the Holy Ghost in Chinese mythology. Happiness, prosperity, and longevity. And then the sacred mountains, which is like Mount Zion. You have the dragon, and then you have the phoenix. But they're saying here the yin and the yang is the dragon and the phoenix. The phoenix is the female, the dragon is the male. And then they have the 2 cups, which has the tiger and the monkey in it. Now, in Gnosis, the monkey is your ego. It's like your dumb, you know, brain, your logical brain in a way. You're not using your intuition. And I think the tiger, you know, you wake up, you become awakened, and you start to roar, right? The pond weave is like an algae they have in there, the fire symbol, and the grain of rice, and then the axe. And then the figure underneath the axe represents 2 animals with their backsides together. This symbolizes the capability to make a clear distinction between right and wrong. So this is Virgo in stick form. This red round circle is Vendemiatrix star, and that's across from Parima, which would be on the left side. Now this cluster, which is where M87 is, this big black hole that they're so fascinated with, is this like cluster of green dots or green grapes. And this part of the sky signifies grapes. And I want to get into Virgo and just explain the hidden meaning of Virgo. It's super important, Virgo, right? Because this is what Washington, D.C. is built from. So now, Vendemiatrix in Greek and Latin, it means the grape harvester. So that's why that cluster is there, and they're black holes. They're, you know, and this is why they're so obsessed with this M87 black hole. There's a band even named M87, and it's really, you have to go check their music out. It has crazy symbolism in it, all to do with ascension. So she has like a million names, right? But I'm not going to go into them all because they're really difficult to pronounce, and I don't want to bore you with my pronunciation and make this video super long. But the whole point is she's the maiden, she's the frigid maiden in Chinese. She's also the phoenix, which I said, it's part of the quail tail. This is part of the Azure Dragon. She's ear of corn. What else? They call her Kai, which is like Enki or Ki, Enki. Or she's Earth. Ki is Earth as well. Virgo is also much named, symbolized, so disguised and so modernized by and be Greeked. So it's like she is disguised. We don't know who she really was in past times, right? We just think it's the woman in the sky. But she's service to others. That's what she represents. Like, she's the biggest constellation, she's the longest, but she's totally service to others. So she's really tying into being the tree. Okay, the stick figure of her looks like the tree, and I have information here referring to her as the tree. But one of the names that stands out for me in ancient times is this Bethula. It's almost like Bethlehem, Bethlehem. It's like this bread shall be, so it's to do with harvesting, but it's interesting that they have this Bethula or Bethluta also. They changed it. She's the maiden, she's Persephone, daughter of Demeter, the Roman Circe. Now Circe is in the Prophecies of Washington as well, and her location in the sky is important. I haven't been watching her a lot, but she's, I think, in the founding of the United States or somewhere she was in Virgo. The Maiden of the Wheat Field in the North English and Southern Scottish customs. Kern baby, the Kerna baby, the corn, the kernel, the baby. Children of the corn. So this is all part of it, right? So she's the harvester. Here she's also Erin, which is part of the Fates. She's the olive branch, so it's a bit like the tree again. She's the virgin goddess. She's Symbula, which is the singing Sibyl, which is the Sibella worshipping is Virgo. So that's also tying into Kabbalah. So it is the tree. So she is the tree. So she's also Minerva, the guardian. What else do they have her here as? To do with Horus in her arms. So she's in Egyptian, so she's Isis. She's Isis and the tree. And it would make sense why, with the Egyptian in esoteric knowledge, it always goes back to Egyptian, and this is why they built Washington, D.C., or under the spring triangle, which is really to do with Virgo, right? They aligned it all. So here it's saying she's the tree goddess is Isis, all tying into grapevines again. Sometimes they use the sycamore. But yeah, she's the tree, and she's got the cluster of grapes right in her hand, in her right hand, on her, just above, below her shoulder. Now here, while the sacred tree is most often the sycamore, other Egyptian sacred trees, the acacia, which is what George Washington used, right? People think, oh, he's worshiping Egypt. Well, yeah, but it's the tree of life. And this is also associated with Isis. And then it's saying that the body of Osiris. So this is all tying in. This is why George Washington used it when he was doing his ritual for, I think, the founding of Washington. And then Isis, because its fruit is like a heart and its leaf like a tongue. So this is why they're using this Persea tree. He explains that this is because no human quality is more divine than reason, symbolized by the tongue, and there is no more driving human force than happiness, symbolized by the heart. So it's always to connect your heart to your voice, and this was what's going to activate your third eye. Okay, you have to speak your truth, to sing your song. Yep, and this is, yeah, so it's the Isis tree of life is Virgo. So there's the triangle, and there's the cluster of grapes by her right shoulder. This is all 9/11, Bennu there, down by Shambhala. So this I want to map out over Washington, D.C. right now and see how it looks. Okay, so here is how I aligned it. It's not 100% aligned, but you can see the top of the triangle is Regulus, the fixed star in Leo, which is the Capitol building. Then Arcturus is the one on the left, which is the White House. I have it circled with white in the dark picture. And then, oh, it's fun because the moon is there today, right? It's the full moon. It's the worm moon, right on the Porrima star. What a coincidence. And then you have the Washington Monument circled in blue. But you'll notice Shambhala, which is where this Bennu asteroid keeps showing up, all on these significant dates, is the Lincoln Memorial. And this is, Trump did his big interview there, and the Lincoln is the Welsh, etymology for lake, pond. It's the nectar of the gods, and you also have the reflecting pool going all the way to the Lincoln Memorial. It's kind of interesting. You always think of it being attached to the Washington Monument, but it's really the Lincoln Memorial, right? It's like it's yeah. So anyhow, that's it, guys. That's how they built it. And if you think all this is done because none of this is important, I don't know what to say anymore. This is like, to me, it's so divine, and it's like, it's just trying to just sit back and watch it all unfold. We have so much more steps that we have to go through, more than what I realized last year. I was like, oh no, it's just going to happen. But no, we have to go through each step of the prophecies in the Bible, which is where we're not allowed to enter without the mark, right? We have to live through that. That prophecy has to come into fruition. So here is an interesting shot of the Lincoln Memorial with the river and everything and the reflecting pool. And I just kind of find it interesting that it's shaped like a Y. And there's this Y in Taurus where the Hades are at the bottom. It's really Isis's gate. Okay, so this is very, very symbolic. I never realized that that's what it looked like. And the fact that it's circled, it's in a circle, which is the original church, was a cirque. It was always done in circles. So I've never been there. Maybe I'll get there one day and get to go in that building. I look forward to it. I know this was a long one, guys. Thanks for sticking with me if you stuck with it. I think it's important information to kind of get the whole big picture. And the goal is just to wear that Corona Borealis crown in the Alfleca, right? It's the pearl. And don't take the mark, really. I don't know when the mark will be official. I guess it's when they will do the vaccine passports and eventually have to say that people are cheating and saying they have the vaccine passport, or they're forging it or whatever, and now we have to put the mark on the people, which will probably be that the quantum dot tattoo, so like a band-aid. So I'm assuming that's what we have to watch and watch people go through all this. It's heartbreaking, but we have no choice, right? It's just all a story, and we have to just watch it all unfold. Try to tell people not to take the vaccine just with posts on Facebook. I think it has some influence. If you just sit back and say nothing, it's like you're condoning this. You have to speak up. You have to, even if it's just with a meme here or there, you have to stand your ground, and otherwise you're just, mm, you're just supporting the agenda. And I think we have to stand up somehow in some means. You don't have to go out and walk the streets and protest, but there has to be something in your soul which is saying, I don't accept this, and you have to do this verbally, publicly somehow, and that's letting go of your ego and not caring what people think of you, and saying, I stand for freedom for humanity. So I know that's a struggle. I struggle through it quite a bit, thinking how it would affect my career and everything. But I feel good about it now. I feel like, I've made my point, and I'm not angry. I'm not mad. I don't care. But I notice people don't rebut anything now, what you put on Facebook. Everybody's kind of just, you know, um, not retaliating too much. They just realize that that's what you decided, and they're going to decide something else or whatever. But they're not angry about it anymore. It seems like so, which is good. People are pushing through the anger. I've had some problems with my emails with a couple of my clients. One, things I couldn't send to her. She wasn't receiving them. And then another client, I wasn't receiving her emails. And this didn't turn out well because, it looks like I'm just ignoring the person. I'm actually, really upset about it because I do these readings for people. It takes me hours. It's all done manually. I do the consultations, I say 20 minutes. I'm talking to everybody for 2 hours, sometimes 3. Okay, so I'm not doing this for profit, and I'm doing this to help humanity. And I just feel a calling for it. It's part of my life lesson. It's my Saturn return, is to help humanity. Okay, so I'm doing it. Okay, and if there's a problem with I'm not responding to you, it's because I'm not getting them. I really try to respond to everybody when they ask an important question. Some people send me stuff. I don't always respond back to that. But, I try to. If there's a big email with it, I'll get back to it. But I don't ignore people on purpose. So I think I might need to just maybe put my Discord handle, where you guys, I'll put it in the description box, and if for some reason I'm not responding to the emails that you're sending me, you can always contact me through Discord, and that doesn't glitch, right? My YouTube channel glitches. You guys, I see them on the email. I want to comment. I go to the email. I go to the YouTube channel, and the comment's not there. It's really bizarre. So, and then I don't know if my email is because it's running through Wix. Maybe that's why. But anyhow, I just wanted to apologize if I've offended anybody in that case. Okay, so I'm here for you guys. If you want to know your Saturn returns, I'm still here doing that. I'm still trying to get the school thing together, waiting for the charts to be made that I put, that I've created. And then I'll probably start an Instagram account and also Facebook, and I'll get that all going, and and then offer the classes to you guys. It won't be like crazy expensive because I know people, everybody's tight right now, and I just want to just get the information out there, right? But also, I've had to pay people to do some of this work for me, so I have to have some money coming back for it. So what else? Yeah, I'm going to get to the Mimosin video eventually, but all this just came to me this week. I was just like, I really needed to put this together. And the Shambhala, star, and the Bennu. I think it's really important in seeing how it all ties into Washington, and then Trump's speech with that symbol being there. All very important stuff. So I wish you all the best and bliss to you all. And I'm trying to get outside and enjoy some of the nice weather that's starting to come out now. So take care, guys. Talk to you soon.